Hey everybody, how's it going? Good morning. Hope you're doing well. We've got more Seahawks to talk this Saturday morning. This is a video that I get requested to do all the time by my viewers, and usually when it's asked, my general reply back is it's too early. I still honestly think it's probably a little too early to do this, but we have enough information to where we can at least approximate things with reasonable, educated guesses. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and do a schedule prediction for 2021. This will be the first schedule prediction I do for the 2021 season, and I will do another one after the preseason ends in early September or late August. I think doing a schedule prediction right now is still a little. You're looking a little too far ahead. We haven't seen camp yet. We haven't heard information from camp yet. We don't know who's going to get injured in the preseason. These things are going to happen and they're going to affect how you view things. To say nothing of the fact that you don't know what some of these teams are going to look like in December and January, looking at it, even when you're in late August or early September. So it's honestly really hard to do this right now with any degree of accuracy, but I did okay last year. I said 12-4, and we went 12-4, so may as well take my shot. So we're going to go through all 17 scheduled games for 2020, and I'm going to call out my wins and call out my losses, and we'll see what happens. Now, keep in mind, this is the first draft. I will be doing a second draft before the season starts in a few months, but most of free agency is over. The draft is over. We can come close. We have some idea of what these teams are going to look like when the season starts. So, armed with that, let's go ahead and try to pick winners and losers for all 17 games. Okay, so I'll go through week by week. Let's start with week 1, Indianapolis in Indy. I think it's good that we drew Indy in week 1 before they get Eric Fisher and before Carson Wentz has a chance to really familiarize himself with his new team. And on top of that, I don't know if Carson Wentz is anything anymore. So we may find out the hard way that all he needed was to be reunited with Frank Reich to rejuvenate his career. But I feel good about this one. I'm going to say this first game against Indy is a win, so we start 1-0. Week 2, we host the Tennessee Titans. It's the home opener. It's against a team, an offensive juggernaut team that lost their offensive coordinator and lost their second best wide receiver. So they've probably slipped in that regard a little bit. They did add some pieces on defense, but they're probably not going to be suddenly great on defense. And even if they are, they're not going to be immediately great in all likelihood. They've got a lot of new players to integrate into their scheme, and you got to figure it won't be amazing at first. I feel like that's going to be a win as well. Week 3 against the Vikings, I don't feel like I have a great feeling for what the Vikings are going to be this year. I get the sense that they're going to be a little better than they were in 2020, but not a lot. Not worried about going to Minnesota at all. Not worried about playing in Minnesota. You get to play in a dome. Weather's not a concern. It should just be an opportunity for this offense, which I did say will probably start a little slow, to show off a little bit in good conditions against a defense last year that was pretty bad. I'm going to say that's another win, so we move to 3-0. And then week 2, we go to San Francisco to play the 49ers. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be yet. We can assume it's Garoppolo, but there's certainly no guarantee of that. I think that the 49ers are going to have a good defense again this year, even though they lost some stuff from last year. They lost, most notably, Robert Saleh, and they lost a couple other players, but they're getting a lot of players back. So I think the Niners are going to have a good defense again this year. And their offense, it doesn't really matter who the QB is going to be. Well, it matters, but their offense will still be good because they have Kyle Shanahan. So I'm kind of feeling the week 4 loss in Frisco. So that moves us to 3-1. And that sets up for the Thursday night football game against LA at home. And while this game coming a few days after a brutal divisional game in Frisco is unfortunate, at the end of the day, you're playing at home on Thursday night football against a division rival in a game that will probably set the tone for the divisional race to start. So I don't know if I'm going to go into this game expecting the Seahawks to win, but I think in order for us to take them seriously as a contender, at least at that point in the season, they will need to win. So I'm going to say we beat the Rams in week 5 and move to 4-1, and that'll be a pretty good start to the season. All right, then week 6, we travel to Pittsburgh. I'm not sure what Pittsburgh is going to be this year. I don't know what their defense is going to look like. They lost Bud Dupree, and their defense was not the same after they lost him last year. I don't know what their offense is going to look like. They were pretty good until Roethlisberger ran out of gas and their offensive line started to fall off and they lost Pouncey. But the extra few days off after the Rams game is going to be nice, but I just kind of feel like the circumstances going to Pittsburgh for a primetime game is just setting up for an L. So I'm going to say we go to Pittsburgh and take a loss to move to 4-2. And the next week, we travel back to Seattle to play the Saints on Monday Night Football. And coming off a loss, I'm not too worried about a trap game. I don't think the Saints are going to be terrible this year, but I don't think they're going to be very good. If they are good, then massive shout out to Sean Payton. And obviously their defense should still be pretty good, but it's a home game in prime time after what I think will be a loss in Pittsburgh. So you should be able to take care of business. I'm going to say we win. That moves us to 5-2. And then week 8, we have a little bit of trap game potential against the Jacksonville Jaguars because it's the week before the bye week and it's 2 weeks before maybe the toughest game of the year. But I don't think Jacksonville's going to be great this year or anything like that. I don't see things being immediately great for Jacksonville. So I'm going to say we take care of business at home. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. And that takes us into our week 9 bye week. So after that, we go to Green Bay. And I'd love to sit here and tell you that I have a lot of confidence that this Seahawks team is going to utilize the extra week off to prepare for the Packers. They're going to come up with something really good to handle that team. We can sit here and hope that they don't have Aaron Rodgers when we play them, which is still very possible. And if that happens, then I'm going to have to reevaluate. And I'd love to sit here and say we're going to take control of the conference with a win, but I'm just not there yet. I'm close, but I can't do it. I feel like we're going to go into Green Bay, take an L, probably put up a good fight, probably play a good game. We usually do, but I'm just not feeling the win quite yet. The door is open. The bye week makes it very possible. If Rodgers isn't there, we have to completely reevaluate. We'll obviously see how the team is playing going into this Packers game. It's a game where we can give it our all. I'm just not there yet, so I'm going to say we take the L to move to 6-3. And at this point, probably going to be a game back in the division, although we will be momentarily holding the tiebreaker over the Rams, the team that is possibly going to be ahead of us in the division. I would imagine they would probably start at like 7-2. So we got to warm up and get going through the last stretch of games. I do think the next 4 games are going to be pretty winnable, so let's go through them. Week 11, we have the Arizona Cardinals at home coming off a loss in Green Bay. It kind of reminds me of the Week 11 game we played last year hosting Arizona. It's going to be a game where you feel like you got to win to stay in a good position to actually win the division and get a home playoff game. So under similar circumstances this year, I'm going to say we go host Arizona and get the win. I'm not totally buying Arizona this year. I think they're going to be okay, but I don't know if they're going to be very good. Time will tell, but they did a lot of things this offseason that could easily blow up in their face. And by the way, not that I'm rooting for anything, but playing Arizona late in the season opens up the possibility of Kyler Murray not making it that far. We've already seen that Murray takes a lot of hits, and he's not the most durable guy. So something to watch for. Next week, we play Monday Night Football in Washington. This is a tough game. This is the game that could very easily determine whether or not the Seahawks this year are good or great. If we are good, this is a game we might drop. But if we're great, this is a game where our defense just takes over against a mediocre Washington offense, forces turnovers on Fitzpatrick, and gets the job done. So I'm going to say we take a win in that game. I'm going to say we find a way to beat Washington. By this point in the season, hopefully the offense will be good. Hopefully the weather won't be too bad. Hopefully Waldron's scheme will have fully settled in and we'll be able to make hay against a really good Washington defense. I'm going to say we get the win. Okay, so then we have a home game against the Niners. Very decent chance that Trey Lance is the quarterback by then. But whoever the quarterback ends up being, I would expect to win a home game in prime time against the Niners. Again, I think the Niners will be a good team this year. I am not convinced that they're going to be back to what they were in 2019. And if they're starting Trey Lance, then you've got a rookie in primetime in Seattle. If they're starting Jimmy Garoppolo, then you have a mediocre quarterback in Seattle in primetime. So either way, I expect to win. Then we have a road game in Houston. Houston looks very likely to me to be the worst team in the league this year. So I cannot convince myself to be worried about a trap game here. I know it's sandwiched between two huge games against division rivals, but I refuse to believe that we are capable of losing a game to a team that I expect to go like 2-14 this year. So I'm going to say we beat the Texans, and that gets us to the final 4 games of the season that will really determine how good our playoff seeding is. So first we have the Rams on my birthday, and this one's in LA. So by the time we play this game, we will have had a good opportunity to really pick up on the Shane Waldron scheme. The team should be humming by this point, and if not, something kind of went wrong. I don't want to necessarily say the offense, but if the team is not playing really well by this point, at least on defense and to a certain extent on offense as well, then something is wrong with the machine. So I think we're going to go into LA with a lot of opportunities to take the game. We don't know what kind of state LA is going to be in by this point in the season. It's very late. That goes for any team, though. I'm going to say we drop it, though. I'm going to say we drop that game to LA. I just don't see us sweeping them. I think there's a lot of matchup issues that we have against the Rams, and I don't think they're going to go away in one off season just because we changed out one coach. So I'm going to say that's a loss, which I believe puts us at, which I believe would put us at what, 9-4, if I'm counting right. Then we go to host the Chicago Bears in Week 16, and I'm going to say that this is probably going to be a win. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I think the Bears will be decent this year, but I don't think they're going to be great yet. Their defense is still good, but I think it's lost something. And even if it's Justin Fields, again, you're getting a rookie quarterback at home. That's a game you should be able to take care of just through that. So I'm going to say that's a win. Week 17, we have the Detroit Lions. They're another team that could be a bottom 5 team this year. So I'm going to go ahead and say that is a win in Detroit. And I believe that would get us to 12-4, if I'm counting right, actually. So 12-4. So we would be 10-4 after losing to LA. My bad. So we're 12-4 after beating the Bears and Lions. I will say there's a little bit of trap game potential with the Bears because I do think they're going to be pretty good. But if you take that game seriously, you should be able to handle it. So that gets us to Week 18 in Arizona. And if there was ever a game that I could just feel the garbage coming on, I can just feel the stink bomb that we're going to drop in this game. I can just already feel it. It's in Arizona. It's against a team that I think is going to be okay, but not very good. It's the kind of opponent that I think the Seahawks can play down to very easily and end up dropping a game they should win. It's happened many times in recent years where at the end of the season we drop a stupid game that we had no business losing. It happened against Arizona twice, 2013 and 2016. To a certain extent, 2017 as well. That team was already out of the playoffs, but still, we lost to a team we had no business losing to. And I can just feel it coming on. This could be the game that we slip up, we lose, and it costs us the 1 seed or the 2 seed or whatever we might be playing for. You win that game, you're 13-4, you have a chance at the 1 seed. You lose it, you're 12-5. Unlikely you're getting anything better than the 2 or 3 seed. So right now I'm going to say that's the game where we mess things up. I'm going to say that's a loss right now. I want to believe that this team can get over some of their late season struggles of recent times. I want to say that we're done losing that one stupid game at the end of the season that cost us playoff seeding. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and say Arizona finds a way to spoil our season. They're not going to make the playoffs, but I think that they may come in and spoil us in that Week 18 game. So that's my current schedule prediction. 12-5 is my final score. Once again, let's just run through it one more time. Win, 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 loss. Win, loss, win, win. Loss, win, win, win. Win, loss, win, win, loss. 12-5 might be good enough to win the division. Definitely good enough to make the playoffs. But assuming my pattern holds true, this team will need to prove me wrong and need to prove the doubters wrong by taking care of business in Arizona Week 18, because that is the textbook example of the kind of game that I could see this team falling asleep in and blowing their playoff seeding. Like last year against the Giants, like the year before against the Cardinals, to a certain extent anyway, like the previous year against the 49ers. Let's see if we can do it this time, guys. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Peace out, Go Hawks. That was my initial schedule prediction for 2021. I will do another one before the season starts that will probably be at least a little different, but a lot of people want me to make this video, so here it is. A way too early 2021 schedule prediction. See you guys later. Peace out, Go Hawks.